who is our special guest as we continue to celebrate Women's Month. Keneilwe, good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play. Happy Women's Month.
Good afternoon, Neto. Good afternoon to your listeners. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, definitely Women's Month, and yeah, we're still celebrating and going stronger.
Thank you so much for pulling through. Keneilwe Mathibela used to serve under SAFA as the head of coach education and is now with the mother body of football globally, FIFA, as a delivery manager overseeing CAF countries. It is a big role indeed, and we feel blessed to have her on board. But it's also good to show other women out there that women in sport are really making a mark, and they are leaving a remarkable footprint. Exciting indeed. Let's take it back to Keneilwe as a little girl. What did you get up to?
As a little girl, Keneilwe, originally I'm from Valsebukeng, 18 Moyeni.
016.
016. So growing up, I used to love the streets a lot. School, never really my thing. I think it's like a general thing when it comes to sports people who are very artistic. But I would basically make sure I complete my homework at school. So when I get home, I get to play until, it's dark. So playing and just roaming the streets, playing with boys, that was my main thing, because I never really liked being indoors. So I think, to describe my childhood was basically a fun child, liking to experiment, liking to explore and running around. Yeah.
And you took football to another level. How did you get there?
Funny enough, football was never really my number one to go to sports. How I started playing, though, was because I used to play in the streets. I had a few of my female friends who were already part of a club, Two for Joy, which was based in the Val. And one day they were playing, so I went to support. And the team that they were meant to play against did not show up. And then we just started playing around. And then the coach is like, "Oh, you good?" I'm like, "Okay." So she's like, "You must come and join." I'm like, "Oh, I don't have a problem. The fact that I'm going to be there with my friends." And that's how I started playing. And literally everything just exploded from there, because within a month I was selected for the local squad, then regional, provincial, then everything just started happening. And I think within 2 or 3 years, then I was already recognized nationwide. So I guess it was just a calling, because I didn't even plan for it. It just happened.
And what position were you playing in?
When I started playing, I was a left back, then I was a right back, a right winger, a bit of a center back, but I enjoyed playing in the middle a lot. However, when I started going to the national team, because in 2004, I was selected to be based at the High Performance Center, which is the female academy in the country, and then I was converted and officially became a center back. That's when I then grew from the under 17, under 20 into the national team, Banyana Banyana.
And some of the coaches that you got to work with, and it's just exciting that in football, as you graduate from one age group to another, you meet a different coach who will come with their philosophy. Yeah. But at the end of it all, it's still football.
100%. I had a couple of coaches, so definitely I still want to give credit to my late coach who identified me. She passed away a couple of years ago. But also just getting to the different levels of my football career. I had the likes of Coach Anna Monati, who is also an analyst at SABC Sports. I also got to interact a lot with Coach Cheryl Bottas, who's also an analyst. Then I also briefly met and engaged with Coach, the late Styles Pumo, who also had a great influence in my development. And I think Coach Augustine Makalakalani, he's also one who played a major role, because within his reign, I was able to develop as a player as well. He also identified my leadership qualities and allowed me the opportunity to lead the national team and became the captain. Yeah.
Big ups to the coaches that have devoted their lives to football. But also interesting, the likes of Mem Anna Monati used to play for Banyana during her playing days. You also used to play for Banyana during your playing days, just different eras of playing for the national team. And today she's your colleague at SABC Sport as an analyst.
I know. Very weird how life works, because also you mentioned that one of my positions was being the head coach, the coach education manager at the South African Football Association. And in that position now, Coach Anna Monati I was like a senior to her, because now she was one of the coach educators. So my office was overseeing the training, the development, the support of the coach educator as well. So it's very interesting how life can actually shift. But I think because of the relationship that we have, we always created the bond, and there's always that respect in understanding this is my position right now, this is the role, but we always have that, relationship where everything is just smooth, and there's understanding to say, okay, this is where we are now. We are colleagues now. You are my mother. Tomorrow I'm your boss. So it's chaotic, but very
interesting indeed. 15:53 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, we are talking to former Banyana player, former coach education head at SAFA, and now delivery manager at FIFA, overseeing CAF countries. And remember, when talking CAF, we're talking 54 countries on the African continent. So it is a massive responsibility indeed. As the head of coach education at SAFA, what precisely did you do, and how did that opportunity come about?
So I still am there.
You still are there somehow.
I still am. So the opportunity came, I think, okay, first off, so when I was playing for the national team, I got an injury while playing. I got hit by a ball and I tore my retina in my right eye. And immediately after that, I was told that I needed to stop playing football. And then the manager supported me to say, you know what, Maestro, just start with the coaching courses because you'll never know where your future is going to land you. And at the time, I was still a bit upset because I felt I still needed to play football, but then I just went with the flow. I mean, there's support, they're paying for everything, just go with it, you see. And then I started, I was working with Josina Telly. We called her Granny. She was our mentor at the HPC. So she has an organization called Lala Ntombazana. It's based in Pretoria. So during my operation season, she asked me to come and be her administrator just to keep myself busy. And then she had connections with a company from Germany, GIZ. And they were in South Africa, and they were looking for individuals that they're going to train who are going to help them deliver their programs. So I started to go to those, and they trained me to become an instructor, a facilitator. And I started traveling the country, delivering their courses. And as soon as they left, then they said to SAFA, we've already trained one of yours, so please utilize her. So ever since then, I was a coach educator, and about 14 years later, which is about 2023, that's when I got the opportunity to be hired by SAFA to go and oversee that office where I was responsible for the curriculum development for the coaches training all over the country to make sure that there's obviously alignment from the different levels, because the beginner is D license, then you go to a C, a B and an A, and then there's a pro license as well. So that was one of my responsibilities. Another one was the training of the coach educators to make sure that we keep in line with what is happening internationally, because I can tell you now that we have shifted so much over the years, or actually over the last year, because we got more training from FIFA where there's understanding to say that as a facilitator, you're not instructing to people where you tell them this is how you do it, this is my way or the highway, but we're more facilitating a place where we allow them to learn from each other, which is peer-to-peer learning, and also just to make sure that we do not undermine the experience that the coaches in the classroom already has. So it's just to trigger and provoke and support them to say, let's do it so that you also learn. Because one of the biggest outcome in all of these courses that we are doing currently is supporting people to do a lot of self-reflection, self-assessment, where they take ownership and responsibility to say, I did this is where I want to go, this is the gap, now let's see how we can now support you to be able to achieve your set goals. So among other responsibilities, those were my main ones.
And later on in life, CAF knocked, or how did it go? How did it come about? Because this is a big responsibility, a delivery manager under FIFA, overseeing 54 African countries.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of the traveling on its own.
Yeah.
It should be coming with fatigue.
Sure. Listen. I did not see it coming, to be honest with you. I think I was becoming comfortable where I was at with SAFA, especially with the change that I had seen since I stepped into the office, because I think when they looked at the stats, literally there was over 60% change and development in the number of courses that we had hosted. So I was still looking forward to bringing more changes. So when the opportunity came about, I also thought to myself, because I'm a person that likes to be challenged as well, I thought, I mean, why not? Get to see the whole of Africa, get to learn different languages. I mean, majority of Africa, they speak French. So now I need to start learning a bit of French. I need to start learning a bit of Portuguese and Spanish here and there. So for me, it's an opportunity to grow, because I always feel that I can never get to a place where I say I know it all. But also for me, being a woman in this position in a male-dominated space where I sit and not necessarily dictate, but guide the progress of how we can develop as a continent in the male-dominated sport. I thought this is a great opportunity, like you mentioned earlier, to say that as women we are also capable. I mean, I've been studying, I'm still studying, I'm about to graduate in my master's now. So for me also, it's the experience from being a player, from being a coach educator, from being a manager, and now being able to transfer that, because I can say maybe the opportunity came through one of the courses we had with FIFA last year. We went to Kigali, and it was the coach education managers of 20 countries in CAF. So I think also just for them identifying and realizing that South Africa is ahead, maybe my experience and what I have done in the office, I can be able to impact and support the other countries to be able to also grow. Because if you check in a lot of our courses in South Africa, we have a lot of foreign coaches coming through. Now the question is, why are you leaving your own country to come here? So definitely there's something that we're doing right. So maybe the FIFA believes that we can draw a balance where they can do it by themselves, and that's where my role comes in.
15:59 Central African Time. You are still tuned in to Africa at Play, and we're talking to our special guest as we continue to celebrate Women's Month in this month of August. We've got Keneilwe Mathibela, and we're still going to find out about how that nickname came about. She used to serve as the head coach, as the head of coaching education under South African Football Association, and now with the mother body of football globally, FIFA, overseeing 54 African countries under CAF, the Confederation of African Football. We have officially entered into the third and final hour of Africa at Play. The conversation continues with Keneilwe Mathibela.
You like what we do on Channel Africa? Then follow us on our socials. Channel Africa 1 on all social pages. And get the African perspective.
This August, we celebrate the strength, brilliance, and unstoppable spirit of African women.
It was the women themselves who strove for and got the changes by lobbying, going through NGOs, and by networking.
That's you, ladies. From the boardroom to the classroom, from the marketplace to the microphone, women are leading, innovating, and transforming our continent every day.
Oh, here's to knowing that as a woman, your voice can change the world.
Your voice matters. Your story inspires. Your presence is powerful. This Women's Month, we honor you. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
From football fields to finish lines,
Eliud Kipchoge storms into the history books.
Neto Chemane brings you sports on Africa at Play.
16:01 Central African Time. We still have our guest with us, Keneilwe Mathibela, who is the delivery manager under FIFA overseeing CAF countries. We're talking 54 countries on the African continent. She also served under the South African Football Association as the head of coaching. Interesting. Coaching education. Interesting indeed. How many African countries have you been to?
A lot, because I mean, as a player, I have traveled a lot. Now it's just a matter of a different role, because back then when I traveled, there was not a lot of opportunities to be able to sightsee, get to interact with people, because it was literally between the hotel and the stadium, because there's training, then we come back. So now I can say maybe about 6 countries in Africa that I have traveled, where I now get the opportunity to actually go out and just explore a bit. Not my favorite thing though, but I guess it doesn't hurt.
Yeah. If you include your playing days, then it should be over 15 countries.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah.
And you're still going to go to the rest of the countries.
Yes, and now I don't have a choice. Like I've mentioned, that so part of my role now, I'm going to work closely with the offices of the coaching development in these MAs. MAs is Mother Association. So I need to be there physically to be able to listen to their needs, to see how I can support them, and then just guide them through the FIFA processes to say, okay, this is how we can do it. For instance, now there's an opportunity for them to identify their new coach educators. I mean, in South Africa, we sit on almost 120 coach educators who are helping us deliver courses nationwide. And some MAs, when we have spoken to them, some just have 2 to oversee the courses that have been run in the country. So there's a shortage. So that's also one of the programs that FIFA offers, to say that we can be able to come and support you. Let's train your people, let's guide them, and then let's teach them the way to do it.
Wow, 120 versus 2 in some countries. It also goes to show just how advanced South Africa is as a country when it comes to many industries, not just football.
No, definitely. I think also we have to give credit to the coaching education managers who have sat in the office, because I think that's what made it my job easier, that there was already an office established that was dealing with the coaching development within our country. That I just had to come with a bit of changes to say, okay, for instance, we need to start looking at more younger coach educators who we can invest in for a longer term, because we have people who are there, who are seniors, matured, but I mean, given their physicality as well, we need to be mindful on how we utilize them. So the better way which we can do it is let's have people understudy them who are more younger. They can learn from the experience. They bring the modern way of doing things as well, and then we'll be able to grow further.
You've also touched on the fact that it's a male-dominated space.
Yeah.
How was the reception when you started getting into this space from the male figures of the game of football?
To be honest with you, I won't lie. I didn't really have much of challenges. I think mainly because the people that I was working with, especially the coach educators, I've worked with them before as a coach educator, because each course is facilitated by 2 coach educators. So I already had that relationship. It was just a matter of them now understanding the role that I sit in, but there was a lot of respect. There were a bit of challenges every now and then, just trying to bring changes and having people adapt. I mean, it's always hard to adapt to change. So we had a bit of challenges with some regions, but it was nothing major where we could say it was possibly directed at my gender. I think it was just a matter of, this is how we have been doing things, so why do we now need to change? And I needed to sit them down and make them understand this is the reasons why I would need us to move in this direction in order for us to be able to support the development of our coaches.
You are also part of SABC Sport as a football analyst.
Yeah, apparently.
You go in places. How's life at SABC Sport?
Very interesting. I love it. This is something that I've always wanted to do for years. I think for me it was more of, because I believe in knowledge is growth, knowledge is power, but what more can I do with it if I don't share it, with people? So just given my experience, like I've mentioned, from being a player through the development ranks, being in a senior national team, being a coach educator, so also looking at football from a perspective of a coach. So I think that just having the opportunity to be able to share this with the whole continent, for me, it's, a blessing. I cannot, regardless of what challenges I may encounter, but I think for me, it's an opportunity that I cannot, play small on it. Yeah.
Maestro, as a nickname, how did it come about?
Yeah, there's a guy back at home called Teboho. So when I started playing, like I mentioned, a coach just grabbed me when I was playing with my friends. Then I became a regular at training, but at some point my mom asked me to stop because she said that it's a dangerous sport. She doesn't have medical aid, so she's not going to, So I was very scared of my mom. So I stopped playing, and the coach came back and spoke to her, and she allowed me. And then when I started playing again, people were calling themselves in different names, and somebody said to me, you are Tsubasa. I'm like, okay. I didn't care, because also, to be honest with you, I just played football because I was good, but never really put my heart into it because I didn't even think it's going to take me as far as it did. And then at some point, I was just walking around the streets, and the guy asked me, hey, I saw you playing. What's your nickname? I'm like, Tsubasa. He's like, no, man. They used to call me Maestro in my playing days. I've retired, so I'm giving you that name. I'm like, okay. And it literally stuck.
That is very interesting.
It just stuck. Even now at FIFA, they call me Maestro.
Interesting
it's global.
indeed. Talk to us about 016 Maestro Development. What's that program all about?
Sure. So that program, when I got injured back in 2009, I had the heart of wanting to go back to 016, the Val, and give him back, because I saw a difference in how you can become professional versus what you are back at home. Like Kokasi, we train twice a week. You eat spatlo, you don't train. There's a lot of unhealthy habits that we are living in, but without awareness. And as soon as I started studying, because my first qualification was in sports science, then it was so broad that we spoke about nutrition, about injuries, about psychology, and all of these, topics. And also just now stepping into the high performance center, where now instead of me training twice a week, I now train almost 10 times a week, which is twice a day, every day. And the changes that happen in my body. So my heart sits and rests with, I want to give people the opportunity that I received. So when I got the injury, I registered that, and I'm like, you know what, I would love to have my own HPC. And that's where I'm still headed. However, because of the jobs that I've had over the years, I never really got the opportunity to fully explore that. But I think now that I work with FIFA as a freelancer, I have more time on my hands to be able to further engage, because what I cover is nutritional support, motivational talking, team building. We talk about sports science. We talk about conditioning of players. How do I develop? I mean, even on a personal level, if people are looking to, get in shape, gain weight, or whatever the case may be. So it's very broad and holistic in that I want to tap into that space where let's see how we can support and grow our athletes and us as humans, because I feel like a healthy mind, obviously, you will get to be healthier for longer.
You're still very positive for someone who went through the injury that you went through. What's the secret of strength?
God and a good support system. Because I promise you, after getting injured, I went away from football because I was very angry. I was very bitter. I didn't understand. I felt I was still in my era. And I think what made it worse was literally I was told that I needed to stop playing football, and I had just buried my mom. So it didn't make sense, everything that was happening at that space. I ended up becoming a lecturer, funny enough, and I did not even apply for the job. And somehow what I lectured led me back to football. So then I surrendered. I'm like, you know what? I guess I cannot really run away from this. It chose me when I was just playing for fun. I ended up going to the higher ranks. I ran away. I lectured sports management at the university. I ended up connecting with SAFA again. Now I'm here. So I think also just having people who kept reminding me that, you are capable, but also just being in prayer and just understanding that it's not always about my will and whether I feel good about it at times or not. I guess it's about, I'm a messenger. Like me being here, maybe it's for someone's purpose to be able to find the strength to say, it's possible. You can see the world, Luena.
Wow, it is an amazing, moving story.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting indeed. And I'm certain it is an inspiration to a lot of people listening to this conversation. As we wrap up this conversation, your thoughts when it comes to African football, especially women's football?
It has grown. I was actually privileged because my first opportunity to become an analyst at SABC Sports was during the WAFCON last month. And also, like I mentioned, that I did move away from football. But when I came back, the first shocker for me was Banyana. We draw with Botswana or Namibia. That's not real. We dominated the Southern African countries. But for me, that also identified how a lot of countries are starting to take women's football into consideration. There's support, there's financial and resources being put into place. So I think there's growth in the women's football. However, I still feel that we are far behind as a continent in relation to what the rest of the world is doing. And I think that's why also FIFA has seen a need maybe to be able to say, all right, let's find people who can connect to those continents and let's support them to be able to give them the correct ways, methods, and resources on how to develop so it can be able to compete with the rest of the world. Looking at the fact that now the under-17 World Cup will play every year. I think also that's a great opportunity. One of the programs as well that FIFA has brought into the different MAs is the TSG, the Talent Development Scheme, where it's almost as though you get funding to be able to develop elite academies, but it's like a walk-in situation where you identify the quality players who can be developed and prepared for the national teams. So I think as a continent, we are bridging the gap, but it's still quite a long way, especially, when you look at some of the aspects that we cannot really say out loud.
Yeah, good times will come.
Yeah.
Happy Women's Month. Your message to women out there?
Your women, please. I don't think that the sky is the limit. I think your mind is. If you believe it, it's possible. Plan it, write it down, pray on it, and just keep working hard and trust that in the right time it will happen, regardless of whether it's the male-dominated sport or something that is impossible when you look at it from a natural eye. But I think it's possible because I spoke this a few years back to say FIFA is where I'm going. And here I am.
And here you are. You've arrived.
I've arrived.
You've hit the rooftop.
Yeah, by grace.
I like it when you say the sky is not the limit. Your mind is.
Yeah.
I think that's very profound.
If you believe it is possible. Yeah.
Thank you so much for pulling through to Africa at Play. Your final word?
Thank you so much for having me here. Like you said, that I have a lot on my plate. I'm still looking to grow. I don't think that I have figured everything out. And for me, I think the fact that I have such an open spirit to learn, I'm hoping that I can continue to grow and to inspire. Not really looking forward to being a role model because I don't want to be, on the streets people. But if that's the case, please forgive me. I'm very introverted, but I would definitely love to sit down and chat with people and motivate whenever given the opportunity.
Thank you so much, and all the best with the analysis on SABC Sport. You will be tuning in as you dissect the halftime, going into the end of the match. Yeah. Thank you so much, and all the best moving forward. And thank you for the awesome work that you do, not just on the African continent, but globally.
Thank you so much, Neto. Thank you to your listeners. Enjoy your day.
Thank you. 16:15 Central African Time. And that's how we wrap up our exciting conversation with Keneilwe Mathibela, who is serving under the mother body of football globally, FIFA, as the delivery manager overseeing CAF countries, 54 countries on the African continent. Undoubtedly not a child's play, but they say if you want something done, you've got to give it to the busy people and they will deliver it accordingly. This is Africa at Play. We'll be back after the short break.
The Upside.